Ben, Joe and Josh here from PH, and we've been on court trying out the new Head Prestige. Very excited about Auxetic 2.0, very excited to have played with these rackets.
Yeah, so the Prestige has got 4 rackets in its range, and we're very lucky Head have sent us 1 of each. So we can do a complete comparison across the MP, the MPL, the Pro and the Tour.
First things first, how does it look? Well, what do you reckon, Ben?
I think it looks like the colour is the colour that you'd expect inside a Rolls Royce in the 1980s.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, that kind of off-red, maroony, purpley.
Yeah,
very smart.
It's a maroony sort of burgundy.
Maroon?
Yeah, you think? I'd say it's burgundy.
I'd say it's maroon.
It's burgundy.
Have you checked the official?
I haven't.
No, I'm gonna go with burgundy. Yeah, it's I don't want to say dull. It's got sort of sophistication to it. I think
sophisticated.
In line with the way the sort of pro stuff goes, something that's kind of sophisticated and lends itself to that precision, that high-end sort of racket that.
It's understated.
Yeah, bit of a minefield between the rackets. None of the 4 are the same in any way.
No, so you've got different weights, different beam widths, different head sizes, different string patterns, different balance points. There's all sorts changing in each one.
So even more so than usual, pick one up and play with it. If you're going to have to play with them because they are very different. We'll run you through the specs shortly, but each racket is different. It's a whole mess of confusion that we're going to help you through.
And that's what I think part of the challenge in play testing these, because you're not looking for, oh, I just like the slightly heavier one because that heavier one then has a different balance point and then has a different beam width, then has a different string pattern. So if there's a racket that you normally, or racket characteristic you normally like, I normally use a 310 gram racket, or I normally use a balance point of this. You're not going to be able to do that with the Prestiges because they are very much different rackets, or seemingly so,
yes.
Different rackets.
I think the thing that is interesting about them is that some of these specs seem to combo up quite well, and others don't really make so much sense on paper, at least.
Yeah.
So a heavy racket normally will have a denser string bed, or a smaller head size will normally be. So it's a case of just trying to find which ones work as a racket rather than just going off paper, essentially.
And the most exciting thing for me, obviously, I'm a huge fan, a lover of the original Auxetic. The Prestige is the first racket to have the Auxetic 2.0. Now, if you're wondering, what's Auxetic? Why do I need to care about Auxetic? It's a type of material that, when moving, expands, and then when on contact stiffens up. So the racket, when you swing, will feel nice and loose, and then as you make contact it stiffens up, giving you that precision, giving you that control, but with a little bit extra bite. It's a fabulous material.
Someone in your family invented it or something.
Yeah, it seems like it. I was so impressed by the last range of rackets, head rackets that had the Auxetic in it. I'm really excited to see what they've done with 2.0.
Do you know what 2.0 actually is?
I don't. Tell me. What is 2.0 then?
So Auxetic 2.0 is exactly the same technology. It's about where it is in the racket. So the original Auxetic was just in the throat. Auxetic 2.0 goes through the throat and through the handle. So you should feel the benefits of Auxetic even more.
All right, let's play.
The Head Prestige Pro 2023. This is, as I said, the Pro version. I'm going to take you through some of its specification. So its weight is 320 grams, its balance point is 310 mils, the string pattern is an 1820, the head size is 98 square inches, and it has a beam width of 20 millimeters. And this is the Tour. So let me take you through some of the Tour specs. First of all, the weight is 315 grams. It has a balance point of 315 millimeters, a string pattern of 1619, a head size of 95 square inches, and a beam width throughout of 22 millimeters. This is the Head Prestige MP 2023, the Mid Plus version. The weight is 310 grams, it has a balance point of 320 millimeters, a string pattern of 18 by 19, a head size of 99 square inches, and a beam width of 21.5 mil. This is the Head Prestige MPL 2023, the lightest in the new range, and these are its specs. Its weight, 300 grams. Balance point, 315 millimeters. A string pattern of 16 by 19. A head size of 99 square inches. And a beam width of 21.5 millimeters throughout. So I've just finished play testing all 4 as you can see, of the new Prestige. And my first kind of hot take of the court is, I think they're really, really good. I think they're definitely an improvement on the last one and much more playable. Traditionally, Prestige is quite difficult to get on with, very narrow beam, smaller head, heavy, but they feel a bit more forgiving, a bit more comfortable than this style of racket normally is. And actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the new Percept in Yonex range in that kind of precision frame, but comfort is definitely there. This definitely is different than the Percept though. Definitely a bit sharper, can generate a bit more power from it, because I think they are definitely stiffer rackets.
Just finished playing with the brand new Head Prestige. I've played with all 4 rackets. That's the MPL, the MP, the Tour and the Pro. Very excited, as you know, to check out the Auxetic 2.0, and the rackets feel great. There's a certain thing that you expect of the Prestige. You expect that precision, that control, that small sweet spot, but generating real precision and real quality. And these rackets do that.
So just finished playing with all the Prestiges, and they're all really nice. Not surprisingly, of course they're nice. The Head Prestige is a racket that's been a good racket for a very, very long time. But they feel good. They feel this very high quality. It's a well-made product. So you're not going to go wrong with any of them in terms of, you know, wasting your money or anything like that. But you can go wrong in choosing the wrong racket. So I'm just going to try and help get the right people onto the right ones.
So the MPL, so that's the 300 gram 60-19 string pattern, and as you kind of expect from that, it's like a pretty normal tennis racket, quite well rounded, gives you decent amounts of power. You can access spin, you can serve with it. It generally obviously urges on the side of control with that narrower beam, a 99 square inch head, but it certainly isn't kind of crazy to get on with. So if you're interested in using more of a control frame and you want kind of to get into an entry level one, maybe a junior or slightly weaker, had some issues with tennis elbow, then the MPL would definitely be one that's worth giving a go to.
Now, in all honesty, to me this seems slightly pointless, slightly redundant. It doesn't feel prestige to me. It feels like it's trying to cover too many bases. And if I was going to go for a racket at that weight, I would look towards the Speed and the Radical, because I think they give you more. They give you more than what the Prestige MPL is trying to give you to sort of match and tick too many of those boxes. Don't get me wrong, it's a good racket. The feel is good. The Auxetic gives it that lovely little snap back and enough bite. But to me, slightly pointless.
Now the MPL, because it's got that 99 square inch head and it's a 300 gram, it's a bit more of your normal tennis racket. It's kind of like a Percept 100. It's kind of like a Pro Staff X. So basically this has got a lot more competition than the others in the Prestige range. So maybe this is worth trying against something else. It's the lightest. It's definitely the easiest to use of the range. Whether you like it or not, it's kind of going to depend on how you play. Definitely more all-rounder than the others.
Now if we stick in the 99 square inch, which is the mid-plus size, we go from the MPL to the MP. And this is where the weight and the string pattern both change. So the weight goes up by 10 grams, and you can definitely feel that through your shots. There's more weight through the court, you get a bit more depth. The string pattern goes to 18-19, so you've got more string in there, denser, more closed string bed. So you get a little bit more control and a bit more kind of feel when you play flatter. So it's starting to go more towards that kind of more classical, longer swing approach.
And the MP feels like a proper quality mid-plus racket. It's a little heavier, and you get that feeling when you're playing. You just get a little bit more weight on the shots, you get a little bit more purchase. It feels more attuned to what you'd expect a Prestige to do.
Right, so the MP is heavier than the MPL, obviously, and it's also got 2 more strings in it. Now these 2 strings are extra crosses down here on the side, and essentially what that does, it densens up the string bed, so the strings have got less room to move. You get a slightly more consistent, slightly heavier ball. The strings aren't going to move around, with less trampolining, so in theory more control. Now interestingly, there's a heavier racket, which then adding the control with the strings kind of makes sense, and it balances it out. And it's a really, really nice racket, and definitely one you probably should try this against the others. I quite liked it, to be honest, more so than the others. I play with a fairly wristy technique, single-handed backhand as well. The others have all got doubles, so I kind of prefer the lighter end. Found it quite manoeuvrable.
If you go up in weight from there, from 310, you've got a smaller jump to 315 grams, and that is where you'll find the tour. And generally as a group, I'm sure the others will also say, we generally found this to be our most enjoyable racket in the range. And I think it feels almost how you expect a tour level racket of this type, of this narrow beam, small head size to feel. It is a 95 square inch head, so it's small. It's quite tough to get on with. If your timing's good, if you play quite a short, more classical swing, and you clean striker of the ball, it feels so nice. And it still has that more traditional 16-19 string pattern, which I think really helps in terms of the comfort level of the fact it's got that smaller head size.
As we head into the heavier ones, this is where it gets really interesting and really fun. For me, the next weight up and the next racket in the range is the Tour, and that's the one I'm holding because it's the one that I like the best. This to me feels like a perfect balance of that real prestige, quality, control, precision, and I'm amazed that with a 95 square inch head, I was able to sort of manage to strike the ball as clean as I did. This to me felt like a really nice step in terms of being more forgiving, more sort of easier access to power, because we've got a 16-19 pattern rather than the 18-20 when you go to the Pro, which we'll get to. But I thought that the Tour, similar to the Gravity Tour, is beautifully balanced and works perfectly because you're getting enough of that prestige with a little bit more forgiveness. So for me, the Tour was absolutely top notch.
The Tour is definitely easier than the Pro, which is quite odd because it's got that smaller head size. A 95 inch head is a very small head in modern tennis, but if you can use it, it's going to give you a lot, and it really does. When you get it right, that ball absolutely rockets off of these two rackets, partly because you've got that weight behind you, partly because there's a lot of weight in the handle, so you can really lag that racket through, get loads of whip, and they work great.
And finally, the Pro version. This goes up another 5 grams in weight, 320 grams, and it is a proper prestige. This is exactly what you expect it to feel like. It's quite hard to get on with. You feel that weight in your hand, but when you plow through the ball, especially top of the bounce, playing flat, you really get a lot of feedback and benefit from it. It goes nice, you get nice depth, nice power, and it's a really classical racket to use with great feel.
As we get to the Pro, now the Pro is exactly what I expected when I stepped on court. It is difficult to use, like a true pro staff, like an RF pro staff, to be honest. It's difficult to use, it's hard to maneuver. When you get going and you're swinging big and you're timing well, it's incredibly crisp, loads of control, really solid across all forms of the game, whether you're at the net, whether you're at the back of the court, really good. But it is a difficult beast to control in that sense of that weight and that precision. It is absolutely 100% what you'd expect from a sort of classic prestige.
Now, essentially, the Pro, I think, should be used by pros. It's a really hard racket to use. Small head size, dense string pattern, very heavy, very handle heavy. You can properly whip it around, but it's definitely for those very smooth, very controlled, staying on line players. Like, if you've got a swing that leaves the line of the ball a lot, you do not want to be using the Pro. I actually used the Prestige ages ago when I was a junior, and I couldn't serve with it at all. Of course I couldn't, I was a junior. You definitely need to be big and strong if you want to start chucking these rackets around. The design of these rackets, the style of these rackets is for good tennis players. If you are a beginner, intermediate, you're not really sure, then it probably isn't for you. If you've been playing with pro staffs, the old V-Core Pro, now the Percept, Prestiges back in the day, you are going to get on well with these rackets, but you've got to be very precise. Small swings, very basic, smooth swings, like serve volleyers are going to prefer these rackets compared to a much more modern, spinnier topspin player.
So for me, it's the Tour because it just drops that dial down a little bit more forgiveness, a little more easy access, a little bit easier to use, but with all of those prestige qualities. Overall, I think it's fantastic. The Auxetic 2.0, you can feel, there is much more comfort in all four of these rackets. Really fantastic job. Going to look forward to playing more with them.
So overall, a very strong new range from head. Definitely control frames, but a really nice balance of control with some feel and some power. They're certainly, I wouldn't say they're really pigeonholed in one type. They're well-rounded and really great to get on with. So I highly recommend giving them a go.
So there you have it. The new Prestige has been put through its paces and you've heard our thoughts on it.
Yeah, overall, what do we think?
I know which one I'm choosing overall, without a doubt, and I'm choosing the Tour. It's the same weight as my E-Zone Tour, right? So maybe it's as simple as that. That feels more comfortable.
It's interesting, I kind of like the MPL and the Tour, which is bizarre because they're completely different.
Yeah.
But I think they're the two that make the most sense as tennis rackets.
They're the sort of clearest.
Yes, in terms of the definition of a tennis racket. Yeah. If you're going to have a heavy tennis racket, the Tour works. If you want a lighter one, the MPL works. The other two, not so much.
I think using a 320 gram racket is just really difficult.
Yeah.
And you have to be, I think you have to be used to using that sort of weight. You have to be able to serve and get that weight going.
Yeah.
You have to have a forearm and a wrist made of steel.
I think the thing is with all of these rackets is you kind of want to try them against something similar.
Yes.
Right? If you've been playing with a Pro Staff RF, yeah, try the Pro, try the Tour. But if you've been playing with a Blade or a Speed or something like that, try the MPL. Yeah. Because they kind of match, yes, but they are very standalone at the same time. Prestige, like that's the best way to test them.
I'm going to do something now that people always ask us to do, but we always say no. But I think we should do it.
What?
What's he about to ask us to do?
No, that I think the best racket in the range would be the MPL with 10 grams of weight in it.
So an MP then?
No, because the MP string pattern is the 18-19.
Yes, this is ahead.
I think the 16-19 string pattern in the MPL feels great, but a little bit more weight in it would be excellent.
No, you just go 315, 16, 19. You go Tour.
No, because then you've got 95 square inch head.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Real precision.
I feel like if I picked and used a Prestige, I'd be like missing out on one of the characteristics that I liked in another one.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be like, I'm all in on the Tour, because I kind of prefer the weight of the Pro. Or I'm all in on the MPL, but I'd prefer the head size of a different one.
I think that's probably fair. I think that's essentially what Head have done, is created their own competition within their own range of rackets. There's too many variants that you don't know which is the right one for you, because there's always something else.
What's really important is that you go and try them, because they are really different. It is not just jumping up the weight. I know we've said this already, but it's so important that you play with them, because everything is different in each racket. So you're going to find something. You're probably going to find one that's perfect for you, but you need to try them. How did you feel about Auxetic 2.0?
Auxetic 2.0. Well, it feels good. The rackets all feel good.
Yes.
And actually, whilst they all
you got him started again now.
Yeah.
Whilst they're all different in how they played in terms of, I think, power and precision and control, in feel and touch, all really, really nice.
Yes. Yeah. And that ties them together, right?
Yeah.
That feel does tie them all together. Yeah.
The whole range is really nice. Out of the MPL, the MP, the Tour and the Pro, I would use the MP if I had to use one. Because I couldn't use the 95 square inch head in the Tour. Pro's too heavy. MPL a little bit light.
Yeah, I'd go MPL, but that's because I play with a lighter racket and I've got a riskier technique, probably.
I would go Tour because it felt the best.
So there you go. That's how variant it can be. It's not about which one's better or which one's right. It is just a personal preference of what your playing style, what you like, or what you get the most out of, and that's it. So make sure you give them a go.
All right. Bye.